Welcome. I'll shut up now.
That's okay. Uh, uh, hmm. Does anyone have any questions or anything before we get going? I know there's a question, is there going to be anything new in non-duality for 2025? No. Come on. There'll be new teachers. There'll be, yes, on and on and on. The song remains the same. Thank God, really. I think watch the reaction to whatever's going on and then just see it's not you. Yeah. Yeah. So, instead, because to me, any topic, its greatest use is to reflect back, is there a one entertaining the topic? Yes. Yeah. And some topics don't have much stuff in them. So you can see the mirror's reflection without anything in there. But basically, I like the idea of, like Ramana said in this little booklet, uh, he got asked that question, is there free will, or is it all predestined, or is there free will in predestination or predeterminism, whatever, pretty tricky. And he didn't say anything about that. He just said if there's a sense of individuality, there's going to be a sense of free will. Yeah. And he said in next paragraph, the only value these questions have, or any question has, is to be used to point at the questioner. Yes. Simple. So, because obviously all of us have felt something, and then somehow it was given a name called, well, that's how an individual feels. Yeah. But a sense of individuality is not what an individual puts out. Yeah, it's not like the BO of an individuality is a sense of individuality. Yeah, it's a sense of individuality that just implies that there's an individual. That's all it is. So basically, that sense of individuality, of course, would bring about another possibility, which is that sense of individuality. That individual must have free will, or whose life would it be anyway? Yeah. I mean, the story of you without this sense of being the doer of all these events is pretty weak, don't you think? Yeah. So if you are not the doer, then whose life is it anyway? Literally. So uh, a lot of times things have you, they give you a scent, and then they want you to go on they want you to go on that trail. Well, I feel every scent should be used to question who's having the scent. Yeah. Instead of assuming something and taking off on the journey. Yeah. Why not? So you can see that this is a subjective experience. Yeah. Obviously. I mean, in recovery, we have a lot of people come in, and before they came in, they had an idea of what was the worst thing that ever happened to them. Yeah, like getting pulled over that night. Worst thing that ever happened to them. And then suddenly they come into recovery, and that there's the action figure starts to change. And then suddenly the worst thing that ever happened to them was the best thing that ever happened to them. Yeah. Now, obviously, how could the worst thing that ever happened to you turn into the best thing? Obviously, there wasn't a thing called the worst thing that ever happened to you. Yeah, it was just how we looked at it. And how we looked at it wasn't based on what we were looking at, but where we were looking from. Yeah. So when you change the meanings and oh man, all the emphasis and the hierarchy change. Yeah, because you're giving everything all the meaning it has. So if, in a sense, you change, then the meaning you're going to give things is going to change. Yeah, the things are empty; they're not giving any meaning at all. This is why it's dreaming. If something was real, it would impose its reality on you. Yeah, if it was real, but basically, we give everything all the meaning it has, as the Course of Miracles would say. So for something to be given meaning, it must be empty. Because if it had a meaning already, it would be difficult to give it another meaning. How many meanings can you give something? Yeah. But because of its being empty, you can give it a lot of meaning, just like in the dreaming at night. Yeah. You gave a lot of shit, a lot of meaning. You wake up in the morning and the meaning you gave it has been changed. You didn't start chanting, that was not a real tiger. That was not a real tiger. You know it wasn't a real tiger when you wake up. Yeah. Yeah. Now, what would happen if you never woke up? That would be your quote unquote reality. Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't realize that what was going on was someone was laying on hopefully a nice bed. And this thing, you would be pictured as the action figure running around with this unsuspected possibility, which is you actually laying on a bed comfortably. And then what you entertain seems as real can be, but suddenly the morning arises and we wake up. Yeah. And now we realize there was a reality before the reality we were making, which was there was a reality of someone laying flat on a bed dreaming. Yes. Now, when you see that right now there's someone vertically standing up, and that's dreaming. Yeah. This is the awake dream. Yeah. So we wake up usually in a horizontal position and we wake up to the night dream, but now we wake up here basically seemingly in a vertical position. So this is the awake dream where we were in the sleep dream. Now we're in the awake dream. Yeah. Yeah. If you get down to the bottom line, that's where the relief lies. Yeah. It's like I was listening to something today. I get these things from YouTube like constantly, these wild philosophers I never heard that are very strange. Like the biggest burden was being born. This sucks and everything like that. And they're talking about everything is unreal, but there's an intimation there real, seeing everything else is unreal. I like to throw us in the pot. Yeah. Yeah, we're in there. What you take it to be the real you ain't, obviously. So, yeah, all right. So what's the meeting? What's today? Today is New Year's Eve. Somewhere it's already 2025 in Australia, right? Did it get any better than 2024? Can I have some hope at least?
There's
No.
no hope for you, Paul.
So, does a sense of individuality prove there's an individual? No. Yeah. What do you have? Are you an individual or do you have a sense of individuality? You have a sense of individuality. Yeah. There is no individual, so you have to have a sense of it. Yeah. Most people today aren't in any danger, but they sense danger because their head is occupied with a future forecast or a past memory. Yes? So they sense danger, but there's no apparent threat. So we sense individuality because we react or respond to thoughts as if they're ours and they're private. And you don't think the same thing I think at the same time I'm thinking it. And I don't think the same thing you think at the same time you're thinking it. So basically, uh, we have individual thoughts. They're private, or they're thoughts that are only made in this one little bakery called Paul, let's say. That's bogus, obviously. If you ever had any addiction problem and you ever went to a recovery meeting, you will find that all your private thoughts seem to have been shared by many people. And all your incredible, unique feelings had been had by many, many people. And the extreme craziness you did or behaved like has been matched by many, many people. So the biggest thing I got in the beginning of recovery was, how did these people get my thoughts? And then I realized, how could they be mine? And I swear the thoughts were like on me like this. My is like this, the adhesion. Yeah. They were like, there was, the glasses were glued, the thoughts were glued on the glasses of awareness. Yes. And so when I came into recovery and I got the idea that these could be alcoholic thoughts, what happened is the thoughts moved back. It was incredible, literally. Yeah. I was seeing through the thoughts. Now I started seeing the thoughts. It was great. It was awesome. And I got some relief. I did. I felt a little better. And then I wasn't so driven by an urge just to change my feelings. I was sort of interested in the idea that, are these my feelings? Or am I being served these feelings by a stale, failed system, which I believe is the latter condition. So this message is simple. When there's a doing, is there a sense of being the doer? Now, and every moment there's doing, there's a claim of being the doer. Now, there's a hierarchy on the meaning. Yeah. So if you're doing the dishes, you're probably not getting much out of it. But if you're doing, let's say, spiritual work, and you think that's very noble and it makes you very unique and special, then there's a lot of meaning given to that. Yes. But the activity of claiming happens very, very fast in time. And I do not believe a process in time can get before that process. I just don't believe it. Haven't seen it, haven't noticed it. It almost, to me, at this point, it seems impossible. Yes. This is why I've lost interest in a lot of stuff, because a lot of stuff starts after the process of selfing. Yeah. And I humbly believe if a process is after the process of selfing, it's infected with selfing. It gets used like everything else. So if it's a noble process, it's still going to be used to claim you're the one that's doing the noble process. Just the way. I humbly just present this. As where we start right now, because we seem to start at a non-existent thing that's been taken to be an existent thing. That would take time. For a non-existent thing to be taken to be an existent thing, and that's where we start, the clock has already ticked a few times. Where we begin isn't the beginning. Yeah, it's a little later. And what's before is shrouded. That moment in time that's before. I'm not talking about timelessness. I'm talking about some moments in time that seem to be forgotten. And we start at this sense of being an existent thing, when Ramana presented it as there's a non-existent thing. So for a non-existent thing to seem to be existing, it would take time. Yes, it would have to take time. The magic trick is, all the magic tricks has a time base. And so when we start to try to figure shit out, we've already been manufactured in a sense. Good luck getting before that. Yeah. And so this is what took the air out of a lot of meaning for a lot of searching and all that. It just deflated the whole thing when I realized the futility of the great wisdom of no escape. Yes. So the in here, manufactured in, projects the out, the ideas of out. So this is the duality that we are sort of wrapped in, so to speak, as this non-existent thing taken to be an existent thing, which took time to occur. We have no memory of that time. We don't. We start as an existent thing. Yeah. Before the existent thing is taken to be us, it's just voidish. Yeah. So there's a taking of a non-existent thing to be an existent thing. I believe that process is the fastest process here. I just do. Therefore, the process to change this process will be infected by this process. Yeah. So when you try to change self, you're going to be doing it as a self. Yeah. Now, process here have a lot of value in a lot of different ways. But as a way to get out of what you're not in, I'm not a believer. I'm just not a believer anymore. Yeah. I have no interest in it. Yeah. None. Because I think it's failed. And I don't think 40 processes down the road, or like every year, there'll be the new radical stuff, someone synthesized Kabbalah with shamanism, with Buddhism. Yes, I just feel it doesn't get me excited at all. Yeah, because I humbly feel there's a futility in trying to undo what was never done. I just don't see it. Yeah. So what I'm interested in, or was interested in, it was this idea of claiming, because when I first started to entertain it, man, the lubricant was the sense of personalness. It was lubricated. There was a lot of oil in that machine. And when I started sharing, in these venues, I saw how much personalness has been like poured into the mechanicalness of the mental operation. Yeah. And that a lot of our hopes and dreams are based on a mechanical requirement to become, to suddenly be able to not do what it's programmed to do. I just don't see that working. Yeah. So if you see the mental claiming as the quickest thing in time, and that what comes after it isn't really going to affect it, but what comes after it is going to be affected by it. Yeah. It's going to bring you a sublime divine futility. It's awesome, really. I mean, if that stubbornness of trying to get out of what you're not in is still kicking, this is going to squash it. It's just going to squash it to oblivion. It's going to be wonderful. It's just going to be squashed to oblivion. And then no matter how many clothes the emperor puts on, you're going to have a recognition it has no clothes. Yeah. And so the newest fashion in spirituality isn't going to excite you. It's just like people walking around here, the girls, we have teenage girls here, they have the high pants now, and they're thinking it's their new fashion. That was in the 70s. Yeah. It's just recycled over and over again. Yeah. To sell you a pair of pants, literally. So so that's what I'm here for. Being even under the category of spirituality, I feel that's fraudulent, because I have no interest in spirituality at all. Zippo. I don't want to improve. I think my basic way of maintaining the action figure is more than enough. I don't have to make it super sublime. Yeah. Just sort of I've learned a few things that allow it to continue, like a Toyota. And if you ever had an old car and you get driven to try to improve it, you fuck the old car up if you take one piece of it out and put a new one in. They're all working collectively. So if you put a new starter, it stops starting. It should indicate there's a principle in there. So, if you don't believe that this dreaming is not of time, then all right, yeah. But I believe it is, and I believe in time. The before has more influence on the after than the after has on the before. Because many times we try to get out of self as self. You see, that's the dilemma. It's not the vehicles of getting out. That is not the dilemma. Those could be like artistic expressions. The dilemma is trying to get out of what you're not in. That's the dilemma. Yeah. So self can't get out of self. Do you believe self can understand that? No. Or the idea of self. Let's say the mental state. The mental state cannot get that. I've lived a life of not getting that. I have, with addiction and spirituality. Every time I shot coke, I seem to have come back, yet I still believed I'm going to escape by shooting coke. Yeah. That was the belief. But every time I'd wake up, and usually the cops either were there or they were coming to be there quickly. And the head never got it, because I realized then that we are not in an event of AI. We are a program. We're not, obviously, but the action figure is a program. It has defined ceilings. Yeah. Now, the ceiling made out of wood may be replaced with glass, but it still defines. Yes. It's still a definition. Even though you can see through it, you're not moving out of it. Yeah. Yeah. So I just came to loads and load of feudal avalanches that brought me to this point where my whole life was trying to get out of here, literally. I would never have wanted to be in Nevada where I am now. But here I am happily entertaining myself in Novato. Yeah. So this is what we offer. And you're going to make it whatever it is anyway. And I hope all the things you make out of it will turn into nothing. And that's everything, literally. Yeah. The gift that really keeps on giving is nothing. It doesn't have a quantity. It doesn't have a sum. It doesn't run out, nothing. Yes. Yeah. So if you come to the conclusion that where you start from is part of the race, it's not where this race starts, it's part of the race. You're missing something. You're missing a few seconds that have an incredible amount of influence in the rest of time. Yeah. This is a non-existent thing. It never became an existent thing. And then the existence seems to move, and then it returns to the non-existent thing. It's never been an existent thing. It's always been a non-existent thing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. We missed that, and we've started at it being an existent thing. And at that point, you need to use negation in a sense. Yeah. You need to hear something that will negate the manufactured starting point so that you could see the seeing of the manufacturing starting point is the real starting point. Yes. And the seeing is not a non-existent thing. It's seeing shit. Yeah. It's our true nature, which is of what? Who knows? But it's not a thing, not made of muscle and tendon. It didn't start and go. It's not like a clock that was wound up and is going to end, the last click and then no. There's a presupposing of the non-existent thing to be an existent thing. Yeah, that's what Ramana says. Don't argue with me. There's a presupposing of the non-existent thing to being an existent thing. And then that existent thing wants to get salvation for itself. Yes? But there is no salvation for it as an existent thing. Yeah. So it says this statement, and then now we're in our what we call time and a process, and it says, if this is the case, which he says is the case, your spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing the non-existent thing as what? As an existent thing. How can they destroy it? Yeah. So in this case, spiritual practices are processes. Yeah. Yes. Those spiritual processes are not going to overcome the initial process. They're vehicles or they're carriers of the initial process. So your believing in spirituality is going to bring you salvation. It's actually reinforcing the bondage to the idea that you're an existent thing, while all the while being a non-existent thing, as this. Yeah. Yeah. How are you going to argue with that? If all you know is process, yeah. I don't know how it's gonna work. I know how it works with me. It failed miserably. Hallelujah. Yeah, really. It was a long time coming, but when it came, it's always been this way. So there's I don't regret anything or anything like that. It all doesn't matter because nothing actually ever happened. Yeah. And nothing is going to happen. Yeah. Yeah. All the little lines in the Etch-a-Sketch have not changed the Etch-a-Sketch. They're held by it, shake it up, new ones, shake it up, shake it up. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. All right. Well, good luck. Good luck, all of you. I hope your searches all fail. I hope all the seeking dries up. I hope you recognize your loving existence isn't existing as a thing. It's way pre non-existent thing. And it's gonna way after non-existent thing. Yeah. 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 So that's why wow, whatever, The teaching's always the same. People just get excited about a new teacher, the new radical teacher. And then they disappoint you or something. Oh, wow. Uh, yeah, we need the old teachers are old now. Let's get some new ones in here. Yeah. uh, I'm branching out. I'm going to be a fashion consultant. Yeah. just by the tops I see from the stomach up, yeah, a lot of change is necessary. Fashion consultant, maybe do a couple of fitness YouTube videos. Yes. How not to train a dog or a cat. I'll give you a video of that. Yeah. We're going to add to the Zen Bitch Slap curriculum. Yeah. Nothing. All right. Anyone? You
Yeah.
get it, don't you? You get that you're in you're in a movement called time, right? We call it something. We agreed with that, yes? And we agree that when you do something, the sense of being the doer is pretty quick. Yeah. Have you ever been and also let's say you misplaced something. As soon as you notice that, someone stole it. Yeah, there's an immediate reaction. Have you ever gotten before that? Have you ever really gotten before the knee-jerk reactions? I saw it once. I was it was awesome. I was at a retreat. They had a Buddhist place here. We used to call it the Upper Middle Way because it was very nice. The room I stayed in was better than the room where I lived, so I was interested in staying longer at the retreat. The food was great. And you could come in at different times. So there were some people there that had already been there for 3 weeks, and it was a silent retreat. You just talked to someone in the morning, and you did basically 13 hours a day, like 6 hours sitting, 7 hours walking. Yeah. And every day, and they had a nice area, and people would be like slowly grazing, walking around, and there would be a big bell for food. Yeah. So around 6 o'clock every night, they'd hit the bell, and then everyone would slowly move and enter, and they'd have all this buffet. So one night I was grazing right near the place. And so when the bell rang, I was the first one in. And of course, I walked in slowly and very mindful. And I walked in and I saw the buffet, but there was ice cream. They had put ice cream out. Wow. My head immediately started, should I just forgo the dinner and just grab the ice cream? Or let's go to get the dinner and get the ice cream now. And so on. And so I watched everyone walking in, and they looked very, very focused. And as soon as their eyes fell upon the ice cream, the 3 weeks of peace and serenity were gone, were gone in about 5 seconds. It was unbelievable. And at the end of the thing, after I spent like 2 or 3 weeks there, they met with me after, and they were telling me, is someone picking you up? And I said, no, I have a car. They said, don't take the freeway. I said, what? I said, yeah, don't, too much. What kind of music you like? Oh, metal thrasher? No, no metal thrasher. Joni Mitchell at the best or whatever. And take the back roads. And it was sort of like I had blew up a glass work for the 3 weeks, and it could be broken by fucking anything. Yes? That was insane to me. Put it in a controlled, hermetically sealed, fuck. Yeah. I need an all-terrain like sort of condition. I can't be spending money, spending weeks in a retreat. So whatever. So yeah. And what happens when something seems to fail or succeed, you usually go for more. Yeah? Isn't that funny? When it fails in spirituality, you do more. And when it succeeds, you do more. Yeah? And in most things, it doesn't go that way. In most things, if it fails, you do less. Yeah? And then if it works, you do more. But in spirituality, you're going to do more if it doesn't work. Well, I hope this hit somewhere in you. And if it did, Yeah, put those shoes on and wear them for a while. You're gonna see the emperor with no clothes. I protest. Yes.
Hey, Paul, you ready for a hand? David has his
No.
hand up.
All
Hi,
right, yeah.
hi, David.
Hey, so you got me going on something kind of indirectly
Great.
that seems to be helpful.
Donation.
So, but yeah, sure. But so I can take a question, like a question which is a really strong desire. In my case, to write a second book, right? Who wants to write a second book? And I find that I sit for meditation, close my eyes. Instead of doing a mantra, I take that question, I meditate, I make that a meditation. I feel it inside my body. So there's some kind of process happening in case anyone finds that useful. But it's amazing, really, because it's, this mantra, just, whatever. But this is really something that seems to be productive to do. I just wanted to share that.
Great. Well, again, the starting point is captured in, I believe, the Course in Miracles, which is you and I, David, are the dreaming of the dreaming. Yeah. And we, as you and I, David and Paul, we're going to dream ourselves out of the dreaming. And as we do, the dream will get happier. Yes? This is the spirit infusing the processes. Yes?
Wow, yeah.
There's no process to infuse the spirit. The spirit is there, and it's going to use this process of living here to process itself out of the world of process. Yes? It's a nice description, isn't it?
Yeah, meditation or not. Right.
Meditation or not. So what you're doing now is self-inquiry in a sense. You're asking, who is it that's sitting here? And who is it that is concerned about writing or not writing the book? And then you leave the air open and see what shows up. Yeah, it's a beautiful activity. And just be a little careful that it doesn't become a formality, because it's not meant to be a straitjacket. It's meant to be sore like a pair of pajamas. Yes. Wear it loosely. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That would be my humble suggestion.
Wow. Yeah.
Because I can see your head, David. Your head. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So don't let it get carried away and start making, stripes you put on the shirts and.
Yeah, it's a bad case of pride stuffed with lots of learning.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Well, that's fine. See, the heavier it is, the more apt you're gonna let go. Yeah, so you have enough weight. Yeah, yeah. Carrying weight has a great value when it tells you you don't have to carry weight. That's fucking great. Yeah, if that's what it takes to get to the point you don't have to carry weight, is to carry weight for a while. Fucking, it's worth it. Yes. To me, that's the value. So how do we know when you come to, let's say, non-duality podcasts or Zooms, whatever, most of the people in here have racked up years and years of trying to get it. Obviously. That's what makes them a ripe candidate in a sense, because
Check about 40 in my case. Yeah.
they have all the evidence. They just need a simple little understanding to perform an act of being like a pair of glasses, to look at all that evidence from a different point of view and see it's all failed, and that's the hallelujah. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. So one person goes, I'm never going to get it, and it's a super bummer in their subjective experience because they really want to get it. Another person says, I'm never going to get it, and it's hallelujah because they're very clear that they are it. Yeah. So, yeah, these are different experiences and yet you arrive at the same place in a way, but what responds to that same place is different. Yeah. Now, to me, failure has been the most success. Yeah. Loss of interest was the key. And I attempt, see, you can't lose interest. Self can't lose interest in self. Yeah. It just can't. It's wanting to lose interest is a form of interest. Yeah. So no matter if you're in, it's going to be super hard to get out. But the beautiful news is watch it trying to get out and realize you're not in. That's the beauty. Yeah. Yeah. A helping hand is offering nothing. Let's just say some creature here was taught and has lived the idea that it has hands, yes? And then at one point it starts falling. Yeah. And it's using those hands, which it's used its whole life, to help it, and there's nothing to grab. Yeah. So it's falling and it's feeling like the end, and it's nothing to grab. But at one point it gets exhausted and it finally realizes the true nature of the hands were wings. Yes.
Wow.
It's been using wings as hands, grasping in this when there's another point to it. But to get to that point, they had to be frustrated. They had to not be able to grasp or understand or reason or figure shit out. This is the breaking of the mold. So your idea that this is about that changes. And now maybe that which you were thought, maybe it's a crude example, but the hands are seen as wings, and now you fly. And then that space with nothing to grab onto becomes that's where you live in. Yeah. That's the sky of you. Yeah. But what the stubbornness of thinking the hammer sees everything as a nail, that stubbornness is a part of the process of if you call any value in any process, that's the process of breaking that down. Yeah. Satsang can do it. A lot of things can do it. You have enough evidence. It's how it's being read is the dilemma. Yeah. Yeah. And we don't have a world where there are committees to read retreat applications. So someone can go on 45 retreats. And maybe at that point, the meaning the head has given to retreats is actually a disservice. But there's no committee to say, no, no more, like retreat Nazi, no more retreat for you. Yeah. These things. So basically, we had it's a crude example again, but in recovery, there's a prayer in a certain part of the process, and that prayer is called the third step prayer. And it's please relieve us of the bondage of self. Yes? Please relieve us of the bondage of self. So this man that from the UK that used to come to the talks, we were talking about it. And then he was praying every day to please be relieved of the bondage of self. And then through the satsang, he realized he was denying that he was freed from the bondage of self, praying for a future condition of being freed from the body. Yes? So at the point where he started to pray, please relieve me of the bondage of self, it was workable. But he had grown into the relief from the bondage of self, and constantly praying for a future relief was denying the present relief. Yes? Do you see? So certain things are helpful, and then they're not. It's good to recognize when they're not. Yeah? Yeah. And I believe humbly, this is the place, not this, but satsang and what's brought up by the entertaining of simple non-duality ideas is it, man. Because a lot of shit lays comfortably in the grass. And most things take into consideration the non-existent thing as an existent thing as the starting point. So now this existent thing is going to purify, this existent thing is going to do this and do that. Yes? Yeah. And from that view, things are seen differently. When you put on these non-dual glasses and you can sit comfortably at these Zooms, you're going to see things in a different way. And maybe they're more current with the present condition that you are than the previous way you were seeing it. Yes? Maybe more is too much. Yeah? I mean, serious, wow. I believed a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff got changed. Really, a whole lot of stuff. I believed a lot of mechanical processes of the action figure were by choice and volition. Yeah. I believed that I had to marshal and surgically laser-like my interest and attention, or this idea of being mindful when all we are is mind. It's insane to me now. And all these things, they failed. And that was their great success. Yes. I'm never going to get it. I'm never going to get it as the non-existent thing taken to be an existent thing. Yeah. This is how that statement here that we read a lot here, the real, it is false to speak of realization. What is it? What is there to realize? The real is as it is always. So that's constant, yes? Time, no time, before, after, high, low, always, always. The real is as it is always. What shit, your own body, is as it is always? Or has your body, this body changed completely? Yes? Yes? Then it's not real. Obviously, the real is as it is always. Has your body been as it is always? No. Is the car in the exact same shape it's been when you bought it? No. When you bought the house, is it exactly in the same shape, or has it cost you thousands of dollars of trying to keep up with its repairs and demands? Yes? Hence, not real. Yeah. We have to realize the unreal. Who is that? Does the unreal have to realize what's unreal? No. Does the real have to realize it's unreal? No. The real always realizes it's unreal. It doesn't have to. So that which is unreal does not have to see that it's real. Yes? Because this is unreal. Yeah? Yeah. So all that is required is this. We have realized the unreal. Have you realized the unreal of this? Yes. Yeah. That's all that's required. Wow. I wonder how many requirements you believe are in place when it's saying all that is required is realizing the unreal of the unreal. Now, the unreal isn't going to do that because it's in the category of unreal. And it's not going to get trickle down realization. It's not going to get it. It's going to live as if the unreal is real. That's its programming. Yeah. This is why the CNN GPS will be seen as Comedy Central GPS, because you be able to laugh at that which takes everything to be real. Yes? You're going to be okay being the butt of the joke. Yeah. So, and then he says here beautifully, there is no greater mystery than this, that being the reality ourselves, we seek to gain reality. Whatever is seeking to gain reality is of the unreal. Yes? Yes? I mean, you can, this is an absolute like culling of the herd, so to speak. Yeah. Whatever is seeking reality must be unreal. Why? Because being ourselves reality. So if we're being ourselves reality, how are we being ourselves not reality? And we're not. So there is no greater mystery than this, that being the reality ourselves, we seek to gain reality. What should come under investigation? That idea that's seeking to gain reality, obviously. Call off all the dogs searching for reality, call them off, and let's look at who's searching for reality. Get a good smell, and there you found the unreal. The unreal you found by looking at what's looking for the real. Oh, all right, not bad. That there is something binding our reality and that it must be destroyed before that reality is gained. This is the space where tons of requirements drop in. Yeah. In the pre-reality moment, in the act of becoming reality, there's tons of shit thrown in there. That reality has to fulfill those requirements to become reality. That it must be destroyed before that reality is gained. It is ridiculous. Wow, that's strong, isn't it? Most people who have paid a lot of money at a retreat, they don't want to hear the word ridiculous. Fuck. I spent $3,000 not to hear that word ridiculous. Before that reality is gained, it is ridiculous. The day will dawn when we will ourselves laugh at our own efforts. That which is on the day of laughter is also now. Yeah? Yes. There's no time or space to move out of that. That statement covers all of you. Whammo. This is what I love those 2 pages, because there's no breathing. You can't get out. You got to sit there. I'm going to watch a movie on Ramana after this or whatever. Just sit there. Yeah, well, okay, you're going to get the same all this year. You got to admit, we've been constant. We've been saying the same thing for 20 fucking years. I don't know what else to say. I mean, everyone here has spent hundreds of years trying to get somewhere. And they end up here. Well, I know it must be disappointing. I should have had bluer eyes and a loving gaze and just bliss bubbles coming out of my ears and other orifices. Yes. No. I come from the dog shit level of awakeness. All those long robes are always going to get dirty. They're always going to get dirty. Nothing stays clean here. So, hey, so happy to be here. Anyone have any questions or anything? I gotta go. It's Jello night tonight, and they're gonna show One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest at the Asylum, our favorite movie. So it's Tuesday night, movie night. Ah, wouldn't that be funny that if you were following someone and then they were actually zooming out of an asylum? Wow, that would be cool.
We know the crazy one is.
And then you would think that, oh, for you to be free, you'd have to wear all white and start eating Jello and a straight jacket. Do you ever see that movie on Netflix where the guy, he was from Indian, East Indian descent. He grew his hair longer. He was a corporate. He worked on Wall Street or something, and then he started to become a teacher, and he got a following, and then it got a little bit too much, so he had his big moment of telling the truth, and they wouldn't let him go. But no. Well, all right. Anyone? No? I'm going to start saying goodbye.
Kumare, this is it. This is the
Who's that?
movie.
Oh, yeah.
Kumare.
Oh, you've watched it a few times.
It's great. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, there's so much and so little, really. Just let stuff fall. You know, if you just see you're not the domino, you'll let the dominoes fall. Check it out. So many dominoes fall, and we hold them up as a domino. Just let the nature go. Yes, let the dominoes fall. Yeah, you're not a domino. Don't be afraid. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Satsang is like that, doesn't it? It's like a movement. Over and over, you come and you get moved. You get moved. Yeah. It's awesome. Awesome power, really. All right, everyone. Thank you. I'm going to say goodbye. David Lowe, appreciate you, brother. Yes. David Strud. Nice to see you, Dave, down under. Mike Clark, down in Mexico. Chris in Olympia. I thought you were in Texas this morning, and now you're in Olympia. What the hell, Walter? You didn't know I was following you, Chris. I know. I was watching Texas. We got Walter. It's come down to this, Walter. Mary Champagne. Nice to see you, Mary. Ernie.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Paul.
Yes. Jim Elliott, nice to see you, bro. James Parker, thank you for the donation and saying hello with Joe and Donna. I wonder what happened to Ray LaFosse, her brother. Do you know? I can't hear you. I'll come back to you. Stephen Mack. James knows some people I grew up with in Long Island. I just wanted to know. Claire Sydney. Nice to see you, Claire. Saraswati. Nice to see you. Michael Stacy. Teresa. Eric. Susan Harris. Nice to see you, honey. Zoe. Nice to see you, hon. Eric. Vista. Annette. Mika. Up in Finland. It must be freaking dark as hell there, eh? I can't go to the second page, so we'll stay here. Everyone, hello, goodbye. Thank you so much. I hope it just allows a little traveling later. And yeah. You know what's very contagious is gratitude and honor. Yeah. Yeah. A second of gratitude and honor. Yeah, whatever. Has a lot of value. Thanks. Thank you guys so much. See you.
Night, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Good night.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy
Happy New Year.
Thanks,
Bye.
Michael.